Welcome to the world of Avon, a land that has been ravaged by countless disasters, magical or otherwise, and the people of this world have always been struggling against said disasters. The world has been in chaos for many years, but recently people have grown resilient and a large threat has been removed from the world. Though unknown to many, people carry on, and they have now moved into a more sociable and economic world, so to speak. Large cities have sprung up through the land and order permeates through Avon. Well, at least more so than in the past. But our story today takes us to the continent of Zogius, specifically in the country of Cesteria, where we find the city of Zichester. Camera moves through the clouds, zooming in at an incredible pace. We go over the lands, lush forests and green fields. Going past them, we see a city to the left. As it zooms in further, city to the right. And then it quickly zooms in to what you see is a colossal metropolis that is Zichester. As the camera zooms in and in, find a particular scene. A few birds chirp peacefully as they nestle into a nest built atop a branch. The mother pecks curiously at a worm before snatching it up and bringing it to the nest. The chicks peep expectantly as they reach toward it. A raven squawks. A puff of smoke whiffs by the nest. The sounds of a heavy mechanism echoes as four large mechanical legs now walk by this tree, almost towering above it. Its arcane engines whir as smoke extrudes from its exhaust pipes. Many people walk within the streets, some dressed in regal suits, ties, and hats, going by the daily bustle of city life within the largest city in the entirety of Avon. Within the city of Zichester, moments of stillness are few and far between. The city of Brass is a giant machine with many cogs that turn and tick within its enormous mechanical chassis. Everyone chases one thing: progress, and the city's gleaming streets and regal buildings prove this. All of the cogs must be in optimal condition, lest they be discarded and forgotten. Our story begins in the early hours of this morning, on the day in the year 3143 AC, after Cadence. There is a dusty smell in the air of this abandoned apartment building that most of you have now become acquainted with. Over the last few weeks, these empty hallways and small rooms have become much more lively as you, the agents, have filled them up. Seeking different things, you have come together at the behest of Vox and your eccentric director, a one Mr. Solan Rainweaver, to fight for his cause in one way or another. Perhaps you have taken inspiration from the agency's mission, or you have come here at your own accord. But nonetheless, you have committed yourself to the Havoc Department. Heinous, villainous, and criminal acts beware, as the newfound HVC department is now officially formed. You have been notified that later today, round about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Fulan will brief you on your first assignment. But until then, the day is yours. And what would you like to do?
What time is it, more or less?
I would say, let's call it 8 going on 9 for right now.
The sun rays are just coming up, but Fox has been at it for at least 2 to 3 hours now. And he hasn't left his room yet, strangely enough. So to all those outside, they think he's still sleeping. But what he's actually doing is he's just kind of sitting on his bed with his legs crossed properly. I think the camera just catches him as he slides his mask under his hood onto his face. It almost kind of makes this mechanical clicking sound, like, like steam decompressing, and he just kind of takes in a deep muffled breath, like, and he just kind of sits cross-legged on his bed, just seemingly meditating, not doing anything of importance at the moment.
Okay. After that, as you spend time there, you hear a knock on the door this early in the morning. Vox, sorry to disturb you. I might have a word.
I think just before Fulon finishes that sentence, the door just flies wide open, and this tall, brooding stature of Vox just stands at the ready.
I'm never going to get used to that. Hello, first of all. We are going to have a meeting at 5 o'clock, as I have said previously. Just make sure that everyone is here, round up the troops. I think it's time to not make our move, but at least set things into motion, if you know what I mean. If you could do that for me, please.
Vox subtly nods his head.
Grant, you are one of the newest members here. I would say, in fact, this is maybe even your first night staying over in this place. It's early morning, or whenever you'd like to get up. What are you doing at the moment? What's going through your head?
Grant is probably fast asleep.
Okay.
But I will say that before falling asleep, he definitely moved the dresser to just bar open the door. I don't think he would have been quite comfortable with the closed door.
Okay. Make a wisdom saving throw for me quickly.
Wisdom save. Okay. Nat 20?
Yeah, you stay sound asleep. This is probably the best you've ever slept in, 10 years? You're not sleeping on concrete. It's this thing that you're sleeping on barely passes as a bed. The mattress is thin. The wood is creaky. If maybe a heavier person slept on this bed, it would have broken. But you're you, and you enjoy the best sleep you've had in a very long time. Shiloh, what are you doing in the early morning?
He's sitting on his bed at the head, almost on his pillow, and he's just kind of carved in between the space between the bed and the bedside table.
Mm-hmm.
And on the bedside table, there are just remnants of these metallic pieces, screws and bolts, and just laying around. And like this, if someone were to come in, they would just see this small brass-colored monkey. And what Shiloh is doing is he is just screwing some screws and tightening it, and just working on this mechanical machine, sitting on a very, very neat bed. Almost looks like no one has slept on this bed in the last couple of days.
I'd imagine you spent straight 10 minutes on the bed just taking off all the little pieces of lint or something and trying to get all of the creases out of the bed. After you did that, sat down and began repairing your homunculus servant. I'd like you to let's do a technology check to see how well you repair it.
My first technology check. Please be good. That is a natural 1.
First nat 20, first nat 1 of the game. We'll say the power transmitters that go from the jade crystal to power the rest of the monkey, they were fully wrecked in the previous encounter that you had. So you might have to spend some gold in order to repair them later, and you don't currently have that material on you.
You all just hear, everyone can hear it because I'm yelling this very loud. You just hear, Schneitzer!
I just hear pink, and then that echoes through the hallways. Yeah, it's a pretty small office, so you're all being sort of squeezing in. Grant, I think you feel a bit out of place as you try and make your way through to get sort of a view of Fulon. You just look up at these absolute giants and the sort of augments that they have on their person scares you a little bit being in this space.
I just take a noticeable step to the right and just completely stay out of their way. Just
Sergei, look at that little runt rat.
hello. Gosh, weather, isn't it?
Fulon sort of is sitting there busy working on some papers, throws a bunch of gears and things to the one side, and he goes, well then, sort of writes a bunch of papers and puts it down. Well then, now that we all are semi-acquainted with each other, the team is officially formed. Ladies and gentlemen, I have your first assignment for you. First of all, welcome to the HVC department. As you've all been briefed before, I don't really care why you are here. I only care that you help me in accomplishing my goals. For you see, this city is slowly dying from within. There is corruption running rampant, though it might not look like it from the outside. And we need a group of individuals that might go unnoticed or unaffiliated with anyone, but will do good for the city of Zchester before it falls to ruin or to the maniacal claws of those that seek to control it, be it from the shadows or from the nobility, whatever. Now, I'd like all of you to please introduce yourselves. Because some of you, I don't think, have spoken a word to each other. Vox hasn't spoken a word to anyone because he can't speak. But I think let's go from the right over here. My boy Shiloh, if you'd please introduce yourself.
Okay, so you all see this person just leaning against the wall almost in the corner, just with his arms folded. And what you see, of course, is the following. A little bit above average sized human individual with white skin. And the first distinguishable feature that you might notice is that he has not a single hair on his face to speak of. Completely bald. Nothing. And another distinguishable feature, of course, on his face. He's wearing this giant welding goggles that hides his eyes and what you would assume to be eyebrows. He's wearing just underneath, if you go down just underneath his head, his neck is completely covered up by this dark green scarf, and he's wearing, over everything, he's wearing this like I want to describe it as a poo green, olive green. Sorry, not poo green, olive green. Yes, he's wearing this olive green trench coat, leather trench coat, and underneath the coat, he wears two things, or something that like completely contradicts everything else that he wears. He's wearing a red vest that looks kind of, it's quite eloquent, something that you would expect someone of nobility to wear. This red vest with yellowish linings, and in his pocket there's like this chain that goes into his one of the pockets underneath. Obviously a pocket watch or something that's in there. Also hanging over his body on a leather strap, there's an eggshell white type of bag. It's a very beautiful bag. It looks quite expensive. And you won't notice it. You would notice the straps that alludes to a holster, which in turn alludes to a gun somewhere hidden underneath the coat.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shiloh. Yes, and he leans back onto the wall.
what you all will see in front of you is a 5'6" human female, quite fair skin, long, curly purple hair going all the way down to her lower back, blue eyes. She's currently wearing this. Her clothes are quite formal in nature. She's wearing this long black tailcoat with these golden, almost shoulder pauldrons on it. And you can see that she has this massive red necklace in the middle of her neck. On her long brown trousers, she has this strap. On the one side, her... What's it called? No, I'm blanking. Her blunderbuss is tucked into a holster on her right leg, and on the other leg, various amounts of vials and potion bottles are strapped against her thighs. And then as you look down, you can see that there is a mechanical fox currently hiding behind her legs. On this fox, you can see that he has these big red eyes, and on the middle of his chest, you can see this ruby sticking out, which seems to be like formed in a heart shape. And you can see that he's currently like hiding, just like peeking behind her leg. And she's, well, hello, y'all. I'm Alora. I'm super excited to be working with you. And this is Gidget. And she starts patting him. Don't mind him. He's quite shy.
Well, thank you, Miss Laura. Vox, if you please, or rather let the dragon...
Well, I think with Ulan's announcement, you all look into the corner, but I think for most of you, you don't initially even see anything, because in the only shadow in the room, very well hidden, there's just this extremely tall, dark, brooding figure, completely drenched in Vanta black clothing, almost indistinguishable from a statue, just existing in the corner. It's very hard to spot him, even when looking in his direction. He's fully cloaked. The only feature that you can make out from his large brooding physique is this weird bone-colored mask, very geometric in proportion, and it doesn't have much features, but it's kind of ominous to look at, because it doesn't really share any human features other than two gaping holes for eyes to peek through. But instead of normal eyes gazing through, the one is completely black, and the other hole, there's just like this white dot, the size of a pupil, just death staring back at anyone who dares to gaze in his direction. And after Fulan says that, Vox kind of inaudibly just almost... it looks like he's levitating out of the corner, because you can't see his feet moving. As he holds out his glove, this tattoo starts to very subtly animate, almost as if it's starting to like slither across his glove, and it starts to head towards his main pointing finger. And as it reaches the tip, these golden threads, these ethereal golden threads start to like amalgamate out of his finger and start to weave together to form the silhouette of what most of you are able to make out as some small serpentine creature. It almost looks like a mythical oriental dragon, but very small. Emerging from his finger, you all see Sylvester, the dragon. He almost falls to the floor initially, because Vox just kind of shakes him out of his hand irritantly, but then he's like, kind of just like a dog that's wet, just kind of turns himself violently, shakes himself off, and he just kind of slithers to the front of the desk and hops on top of it. And he's like,
well, Good afternoon, folks. I am glad to see you've all had some good resting. Or at least most of you, I presume. Vox isn't really he's got a bit of stage fright, so I do apologize on his behalf. Okay, yes, whatever you want to call it. Well, from this point on, I shall be doing most of the talking on behalf of my broody friend over there in the corner. To all of you, you may adorn me as Sylvester, the helpful companion of the Mr. Vox over there in the corner. I basically do all the translating and negotiation on his behalf, and might also be the occasional butler in some instances.
Solan currently is standing at 233 centimeters. He has a very muscular, lean build, and he's a 35-year-old Solarian elf. So he has these stand orange things in his skin. His hair is long with a vibrant blend of orange and yellow, with the back part neatly tied up in a bun, and in the front part hanging loosely. And then if you look at his eyes, it's kind of mysterious because it resembles a lunar eclipse with mixtures of red, orange, and yellow. I'm Solan Sinclair. Hello, everyone. I'm a paladin for the Church of the Twin Suns, or at least I think I am still. And yeah, that's all what you need to know about me.
Yeah, but what are all your reactions to this?
Yes, I am very aware that he might have multiplied in size since we've last seen him.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Vox. My name is Silas Everglade. As you can see, I'm an elf. I'm a fighter. Thank you for having me. Yeah, that's all. And what you guys see is he's a little bit taller than Alora. He stands at 1.76 meters. He is very athletically built. He's not as big as you would think a fighter should be. He's very lean. And he has the brightest colored pink hair you have ever seen in your life. And when it comes to his face, you see these lighter skin marks that are on his face, as he is a more darker individual. And what the light skin is, it's called vitiligo. And what you know is that it runs down his face. You don't know if it's anywhere else, because his one arm is covered in bandages, as well as his torso. He has one golden eye and one blue eye, and he has multiple piercings on his face. For his stature and nature, these piercings and one tattoo does not really suit him. It might suit his exterior, but definitely not the way he talks and acts. He also has a animal skull mask. Those who can see, it's actually a wolf skull that he has hanging from his belt. But yeah, he looks very preppy, even though he was terrified like a second ago. He's actually a very preppy person, and he's just very lively. But yeah, that is Silas.
Okay, well, first of all, I like Alexander's appearance. He's also quite the mountain of a man, but not as big as the literal fucking giant next to him now. Alexander's like very formally dressed. Like white shirt, nice formal pants, and I think you call it the overcoat or whatever. And his left arm is not a normal arm, it's a giant mechanical arm with these green tubes coming out of it. Some weird, strange green liquid flowing from his head into the arm. And obviously he is bald and has very, intense red eyes. It looks artificial, if that makes sense. If you look at his clothes, you'll see that there's a couple of cuts, rips, as if he's been in a couple of fights recently. Then he also has a bunch of scars in his face. Obviously been, like I said, in a couple of fights. And with a particularly bad one, having a chunk of his chin missing that has been replaced by a little metal augment. My name is Alexander. This is Sergei.
No, Sergei, after Alexander says this is Sergei, he gives a nod and then just says, "One of the ruffians, as you stated," and he points to Fulan. And yeah, instead of one mechanical arm, he has two augmented arms with very sharp claw-like fingers at the end of them. Also seems fairly decently dressed, or it would have seemed like he would have had fancy clothes if they were not torn or tattered at a few places. His entire jaw is also replaced with mechanical augments, and as he's talking, his jaw doesn't move. So it's a bit weird to look at him while he's talking. With pipes flowing from that all the way to his back, and it seems like his one leg might also be a bit mechanically enhanced, but it's a bit unsure underneath the pants that he's wearing. And he is also has next to him a maul lying on the leaning against the wall as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Grent. I don't really know why I'm here, and I don't really know why any of us are, but I'm excited to speak with all of you. Right? Okay, thank you. He is scrawny, malnourished, he's pasty, you can pretty much just see straight through him. And he also has these tiny wounds and scars all over his body. It's obvious that he's been through a decent amount of suffering. Whatever that suffering was. Yeah, guess we'll find out. And he also is very bold.
We're three bold people. Now that the formalities are out of the way, I would like you, as your first assignment, to acquaint yourselves with the locals of this area. Go out on the streets, into the nearby businesses, and build up a few relationships with the people around us. People can be your greatest allies in gathering information, and they notice things out of the ordinary in the spaces that they move about. This will be a slow process, but I'm most certain you will come to understand in time. All of the buildings here are quite large. It's sort of like a London-esque type situation where it's just like a wall of buildings, and then you have the different stores in different parts of this large building. And that's sort of the gist you get here. It's just like a straight up wall of buildings, many glass windows and such. But then at the bottom of this, there's sort of a smaller building that almost looks like it is bursting forth from this wall of buildings. And indeed, you see Hilda's hutch on the front door of it. It says accessories and anything you might need as the catchphrase. And it's a quaint little building. It has a lot more like details, and you can see that as you get closer, like there's a bunch of baubles and things that hang in the windows and on display cases. It looks more homey and like lived in, other than like the rest of the city, which is just this straight up mechanical machine that is more about efficiency rather than personalization, I would say. But yeah, this is a quaint little place that has found its home here on this corner of the street.
Well, ain't this cozier than a fire on Christmas Eve?
Do you think they have pebbles? Silas just takes out a little bag and shakes it, and you just hear... a bunch of rocks just like pairing together. I have a bit of an obsession. And he puts it away. Anyway, we should probably go ahead in the general store.
Again, Grant, do you want to knock on the door?
What?
Grant, do you want to knock on the door?
Alright. Grant kind of steps up and he just bangs on the door like as loud and as hard as he possibly.
Good gracious! It's open, you daft idiot! How can I help you? Interest you in some vintage attire, accessories? We just got a new shipment of a few jewels and jewellery at affordable prices, obviously. Or you're just here to browse like everyone else in this city?
We're actually here to ask you some questions, or like a question. We just wanted to hear if anything strange has been happening around these parts, perhaps. Any odd characters?
I couldn't say no odd characters really. No.
Grant is going to cast Sense Heartbeat at level 1.
Okay.
Just to determine whether this lady is lying or not.
I would say, you don't really get distress from her or anything like that. You're unsure if she's speaking the truth or not.
Do you perhaps have interesting rocks?
We've got some andesite, which is taken purely from the nearby stone mines. A friend of mine actually dropped this off for me. Quite a marvelous little piece. It's a grey rock with darker grey lines through it. It's really beautiful, but it's a rock.
And how much is this little thing gonna cost me?
That'll run you up about, call it... calculates a few things in her head. 1 gold and 2 silver pieces.
Come on, Grant. Thank you for the rock, madam. Thank you for the information.
I've got my eye on you. I won't come knocking at your door if my building burns down.
God.
Are we burning a building down?
No. No. Well, that went more smoothly than I thought it would.
Are we gonna go back now, or?
Hey, Silas, do you still want to go see where the pebbles are near the place we're staying at? I could show you.
Well, we're going there now, so that would be great. Then Grant can go inside. I don't think he likes that outside very much.
Well, Grant, do you want to pebble hunt with us?
I don't. I've never hunted a pebble before.
We can teach you. It's not very difficult.
Yeah, it's not very difficult at all. They stay pretty still. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't bite.
I'll try.
You see by this time, like Solan is actively shrinking down to a smaller size, just you see his clothes hang a bit looser on him.
If you could have seen Shiloh's eyes, he's squinting and he kind of just adjusts his goggles.
I wonder how that works. Very interesting.
Shiloh leaning against the wall, folding his arms. There's like a awkward silence between you two, and he looks at you. He looks up at you. And then he just looks in front of him.
What is it?
No, it's nothing. Here, Solan. It's just quite interesting.
What?
Well, you were just a couple of seconds ago 2 heads longer than you are now, and just yesterday you were barely as tall as I was.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it?
Indeed, yes. Don't you worry. I won't pry.
Yes, Vox, you wanted a word?
Well, Mr. Fulon, I do appreciate that you are suggesting for us to find ourselves familiar with the local habitat, but me and Vox here feel that there might be more pressing matters at hand. I do believe we informed you about the strange masked individual who met up with that professor back at the club that we visited.
I barge in.
Vox heads contorts unnaturally in your direction.
Hello, Shiloh? Something on your mind?
If they're going after the bird mask, I am too.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you my reasoning in this matter, at least. You say you want to go after the bird-masked individual. I understand that. But at the moment, we have no idea who he is, what his motivations are, or where he could have gone. So, I'm going to suggest, and I know this goes against everything that you stand for, Vox, but we should acquaint ourselves with our area, set ourselves in this environment, hear what the people have to say. They see everything, and with that we will be able to build up a network for ourselves that will instantly be able to notify us when things go awry around us. That is what I'm trying to do now.
Herr Fulon, I would advise that you remember that the bird mask is the only reason I'm still here.
Zichester is an enormous city. To find a bird mask in a haystack, it's sort of that type of situation. We're going to have to take it day by day, and I promise you, our network with all of these people will come in handy one day.
You know, Herr Fulon, there's a saying that my people use. It goes, Das Blauw vom Himmel verspreken. It means the blue promise from the sky. A promise that can't be fulfilled. This isn't the blue promise from the sky, is it, Herr Fulon?
Well, I can tell you this. I intend to overturn this entire city in time, find out what makes it tick. Who are those that lurk in the shadows? Whoever this bird-masked individual is, we will surely find him one day, and what exactly he is after. And we'll put a stop to it. That is a promise I can make to you.
He just nods, and he exits the room.
I think at this point, me and Alexander will stand up and we'll just go. Well, me and Alexander are gonna go for a little stroll outside. Why don't you join us, Grent? You said you wanted to see the city in the night again.
Yeah, I'll come. I just want to grab one
Very
quick
good. I
drink,
pick him up
then
and I usher him out before you can.
Oh no.
I think we right.
I guess we're going.
Oh
I think
no.
we would go out like the back entrance and not the front door.
Okay, fair enough. Mitty allows you to do that, and you lead off. And as Alexander, Sergei, and Grent head towards wherever they are going to enact their plan, and as the rest of the HVC return to the headquarters, I think we are going to call tonight's session there, and then we'll join you all next Sunday. Same place, same day, maybe not same time. It is dependent on what happens that day. But indeed, this was episode 1 of the Brass Gasconade for our very first stream for Nat Zero. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been It's been wild, and we hope to all see you there next time. Bye bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.